AM 590, KXSP Omaha's ESPN Radio. It's time for the Metro's only racing talk show. The Front Stretch, presented by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs. Now, here's Dan Taylor and Buddy Ray.
And welcome to it, race fans. This is the Front Stretch, presented by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs, online at joeskarting.com. That is karting with a K, now at winter hours.
That's right, Monday through Thursday, it's 4 to 10, Friday 4 to 11, Saturday 11 to 11, and Sunday noon to 8. Come down, see me. We're changing some stuff up on the go-karts. You'll be able to compete now, Dan. Maybe stay out of the wall.
No. You can't change the car enough to keep me out of the wall.
That's a very true point there.
Listen, unbeknownst to you, Rich actually hires me separately as a subcontractor to make sure those walls are good and sturdy.
So you're our ISO 9000 approved crash dummy.
That's what I do.
Crash test dummy.
This is the Front Stretch. I am Dan Taylor. That is Buddy Ray. We're going to talk all things NASCAR and dirt track news. Coming up today, we've got a nice, beautiful show lined up for you. Richmond International Raceway, so interesting that a fan climbed up on the catch fence to take a nap.
Well, he wanted to reinvent what it means to have the best seat in the house.
Man, it was a rough race last night to watch, but I bowled through it, and I did it for you guys, so that way I could report on this one interesting fact. Brad Keselowski won. That was about all that came out of that race. And some horrible post-race interviews, frankly.
And Fred Lauer, if you're listening, be dancing on your bed or something, because God knows for 120 miles home last night I heard about Keselowski. I won you a dance challenge. I won you a dance.
He did. He had a really good he took the Keselowski, so he got a full points-paying night, and next week he looks like he's taking Larson, so we'll see how that pans out for him in the final week of the 3-week short pick'ems contest to win tickets to the Midwest Fall Brawl, the exclusive infield tour with Stan Cisar, and the Kansas Speedway ticket package. So a lot on the lines for the quick 3-week contest.
I tell you what, you're talking about winning that infield pit tour, Stan Cisar. Just talking to Stan Cisar with all the rich history of the local dirt track racing scene that he's got, that alone is worth, well, it's undescribable.
I love talking to Stan because I even if I pick up 1% of what he knows, I'll be 4 times smarter than I am now. All right, coming up this show, like I said, we're going to talk about Richmond results. We're also going to talk with Anthony, the man behind the scenes for the SLMR Series, pretty much becoming the voice of the SLMR Series. Does a fantastic job covering that series, so I asked him to join us because they raced last night at Corning for the Ray Houck Memorial. Was there another name for it at Adams County, or I think it was a Ray Houck Memorial, right?
I think so. I'm not for sure on that.
SLMR Nebraska 360 race. Then in turn 2, we're going to talk with Stan Cisar, get you ready for the Nebraska Cup this afternoon, actually tonight at Eagle Raceway. Turn number 3, we're going to talk Chase Window, and then turn 4, we will wrap it all up. Plus, we're going to talk a little bit of Super Nationals. Buddy's got results and some information from that. So without further ado, let's head over to line number 1. We'll talk with Anthony. We'll get Anthony at back in bed after a long night at Adams County Raceway. How you doing this morning, Anthony?
Oh, I'm doing all right. My voice is actually doing a lot better than it was at Adams County last night. It was cold, and I was going through cough drops like no one's business, but still I pulled through with a great show with the SLMR last night.
Well, let's talk about that. How'd the SLMR Series go for you guys last night at Adams County Raceway?
Oh, they put on an excellent show. A lot of great cars came in. About 24 cars attended last night's event. The Ray Houck Memorial Dash was a great one. Congrats to Jason O'Brien out of Atlantic, Iowa, picking up the $1,000 for the Ray Houck Memorial Dash. And of course, Stan Cisar, he wanted the bounty on Kyle Burke to last to tonight for the Nebraska Cup. Unfortunately, Stan will not get his wish. Last night, the bounty was claimed.
Who got it?
It was John Anderson from Omaha, Nebraska, the new driver for Bill Coons Racing. John Anderson winning his first race in the SLMR Series with this new car. I think first time he's been to victory lane since Southern Iowa Speedway back in June. So it was good to see John Anderson back there, but back in victory lane. Well, let me tell you, he had a lot of pressure on him. Tad Postisol and Kyle Burke were both trying to get inside, outside of him, but Anderson just stuck to his game plan and he pulled away and took home $3,000. The $2,000 payday for the SLMR, and then the $1,000 bounty on Burke.
Anthony, with John Anderson driving for Bill Coons, this is news to me. Is this going to be a full-time ride or a part-time ride, or did you hear any particulars about that?
I haven't heard how long this deal is going to last, but since John Anderson left that team out of Manhattan, Kansas, which he was teammates with Chase Youngins with, Bill Coons picked him up this year, and they've been running Lucas Oil MLRA for the most part of this year. And actually, I believe that race at Southern Iowa Speedway, which Anderson won back on June 12th, that was the first show for that 21X. So this is a relatively new car, about 2 to 3 months of racing underneath it. I'm not sure if he's going to come to Eagle tonight. We'll see what happens.
Well, that's a good transition. Let's talk about Eagle. It's a completely different track than Adams County Speedway. So what are we in line for? Are we going to see Kyle Burke just miss one last night and then pick it up tonight? Or is he going to struggle on the shorter high banks of Eagle Raceway?
Well, Kyle Burke, he is no stranger to Eagle Raceway. He was the second to last driver to win a late model track championship at the Eagle Raceway. That was back in the year 2000. And, of course, last year Kyle Burke won the Nebraska Cup. It's going to be a very interesting show. We go from the longest racetrack on the SLMR schedule to, I believe, the second shortest. The only one shorter is US 30 Speedway over in Columbus. So I talked to Kyle Burke after his win at Junction Motor Speedway. He says there are a couple of adjustments that you have to make in order to go from a super long track, the half mile at Adams County, to a third mile bull ring. And we'll just see how it goes. Kyle Burke is no stranger to Eagle Raceway and no stranger to Victory Lane. I think the fans at Eagle Raceway, they're going to be treated to a very nice event here, over at the Nebraska Cup, and I can't wait to join Stan Cisar for the call of that.
Well, you guys have just about 5 races left. After you guys wrap up tonight at Eagle Raceway for the Nebraska Cup, you'll go to Park Jefferson, then I-80 for the Fall Brawl. And then you guys added 2 new specials, October 3rd and 4th. You getting excited about the head down to Kansas City for Lakeside?
I hope so. I definitely hope I get to call the races that time because I've actually never been to Lakeside Speedway before. Just like last night, I made my first stop over to the Adams County Speedway. But from what I've heard, Lakeside, pretty semi-banked, about a 4/10 mile oval. It flicks off pretty quickly, so it'll probably be a driver's track both nights. And of course, after Kansas City is through, we have the Cornhusker Classic coming up, and that is where we crown the 2014 champion. Right now, it looks like it's Kyle Burke's title to lose right now. But Tad Pospisil, he's getting better in recent weeks. He nearly won the bounty over at Junction Motor Speedway, but he lost it on the final lap to Kyle Burke. So this time, John Anderson took the bounty last night, and it's going to be a great next about 3 or 4 weeks.
Anthony, with you either calling the races or going to watch the races, you mentioned.
It's okay.
Early. It's early. Yeah, the Cool Junction,
hang on, just take a second.
Yeah.
Take a breath. All right, let's start
Junction
again.
Motor Speedway.
Yeah.
I need some more coffee. So Junction Motor Speedway, Eagle Raceway, Adams County Raceway. You haven't been to Lakeside yet, of course, I-80 Speedway. When you're looking at this SLMR Series, who do you think is quite possibly the most well-adjusted driver to go from one track, one size to the small track back to the, who do you think is the best overall adjusted driver that you've seen so far this year?
I have to say, our point leader Kyle Burke has just been, he's been able to adjust to just about any track we throw him on. I mean, this streak started over at Dawson County Raceway over in Lexington, which is about a 3/8 mile. And then our next stop was US 30 Speedway, a tight 1/3 mile. He won both of those races. I mean, it seems that through the experience of Kyle Burke and then, of course, being able to work with this new chassis that he's been working on the past couple of years, I got to say, Kyle Burke, he's able to adjust to about any track we put him on. and I think that's why we always see him out in front.
All right, Anthony, the voice of the SLMR Series, the Super Late Model Series. You can find him on Facebook, SLMR Series, or go to i-80speedway.com, your main page there. You can click on the SLMR Super Late Model Racing Series to find out where they're heading to. You can catch him tonight at Eagle Raceway for the Nebraska Cup. Hands down, who's your bet for tonight? I know you're supposed to say neutral, but give fans a little bit of a peek of who's going to be in victory lane.
I gotta say the 14 is going to get back on it after last night. Adams County Speedway is a little bit of a tough spot. It's a very big racetrack, but now we go down to a bull ring. Kyle Burke has had a lot of experience down there. He's turned a lot of laps. I think he can repeat his performance from last year. All
right, Anthony, I appreciate you getting up and taking the time this morning to get us updated on the SLMR Series. We'll see you tonight at Eagle Raceway. Hot laps at 5:30, racing at 6:30. Thanks, bud.
Hey, no problem. I hope to see you there.
Let's roll through the show. We've got a guy that we got to get to him this week. We didn't get to him last week, so we'll talk to PJ Pedersen, the pit boss at Crawford County Speedway. How you doing, big guy?
Morning. How's everybody doing?
Oh, we're doing pretty good.
I'm learning how to talk.
We got what you got for us this morning? We haven't talked to you in a couple of weeks.
Well, we're going to talk about it last week and didn't get a chance to, but Crawford County Speedway, unfortunately, had to finish up a week early because, our season finale was supposed to be the 29th of August, and the only thing racing was raindrops, which was the story of the season. But wanted to talk about our champions a little bit there, Dan.
Yeah, well, you want to talk the guys who ended up taking home the championship. You want to run through them real quick then?
Yeah, and I just want to preface this by saying it's pretty sad because we had two classes that were fairly close, and one of those was extremely close, but we're never going to know what could have been. But at the Sport Compact class, Tony Kruger from Woodbine ends up bringing home the championship. Alex Stapleton, the super rookie, ended up leading most of the season, but one bad night, one accident, and Tony Kruger took it over. Who knows what could have been there.
Tony was kind of the mark of consistency this year, though. I mean, despite where he started, he always seemed to finish within the top five.
Oh, yeah. Now I'm going to skip over to the sport mods, and we'll get back to the hobby stocks in a second. But Keegan Scott, even though his brother Logan had twice as many wins, Keegan, like you said, the mark of consistency, ends up taking home the championship. But Logan was second. You move on to the stock car class, and it's pretty much a foregone conclusion. Mike Nichols ended up taking home the championship there. And
I think he locked that up about week 3 or 4.
Well,
that's a complete exaggeration and a joke, but yeah.
Yeah, because Flying Brian Blessington stayed close to him pretty much a good chunk of the season, but in the home stretch, ended up pulling away there. And, well, then you got the modified class, and it's just that one literally was locked up about week 3 or 4. The Crazy 99, Jesse Sobbing, ends up taking home that one, and it wasn't even close. He had, I believe, 33-point lead over second place Chris Abelson. So, but
yeah, and the second year in a row he's walked away with that championship. It's hard to. I think the only times that Abelson, well, not the only times, Abelson won 5 or 6 times, and I think Sobbing finished second place to him all but one of those times. I think he finished third the other week.
You know what's really interesting about Abelson and Sobbing? I was telling you about this, Dan, on the way into the station this morning. And PJ, if you got your thoughts, here's 1 and 2, or what was 1 and 2 in the national point standings in the IMCA Modifieds, and yet they did not make the big show at the Boone Super Nationals.
See, that just goes to show that Boone is a crapshoot. You can be the best driver and have the best equipment and still not make the A.
Yeah. All right, continuing through the track championships, and then I want to cover. We got about a minute and a half, 2 minutes left in the break, so we got to go to the break. So let's. I want to talk local Crawford County Speedway boys up at Denison. So.
Well, hold on a second. We got one more championship to cover, and that's the hobby stocks. And I'll tell you what. Last year, it came down to the last turn, last lap, and a tiebreaker for the championship. It almost came down to it again this year. The Mo Valley Missile Jason Cole misses, repeating his champion by 1 point. big congratulations. He got the Jackson, Minnesota championship, and now he's got the Crawford County Speedway championship. Justin Nearing from Storm Lake ends up bringing that championship. And, it's funny, Dan, because you radioed down to me, or no, we talked about it pre-race, that, with the weather the way it is, that could have been the last night they ran for a championship, so everybody had to run extra hard, and it ended up being that way.
Yeah, they definitely ran hard all night long, just as we saw the last couple of weeks at Crawford County last year when Cole was battling for the championship. It was down to single positions. All right, real quick before we go to break, do you have an update on us on any of the local guys around there with the Boone Super Nationals, how they're doing?
Well, I know the Mobile Municipal Jason Cole ended up finishing 7th in the Hobby Stock Race Champions and 10th in the A-Main. Corey Madden made the A-Main. I'm not sure exactly where he finished. I do have to say, though, Devin Smith, one of the Lake City Raiders, his first year in the stock car class, he doubles up. He picks up the stock car race of champions and the A-Main for the Super Nationals last night. So I want to say a big congratulations to Devin Smith. First year in the class, that's awesome.
All right, PJ, we appreciate your help. Appreciate you giving us a call and getting us updated on all the information. We will talk to you soon. Have a good one, bud.
You too.
Turn 2 just around the corner. We're going to try to get a hold of Stan Cisar and get you ready for the Nebraska Cup today at Eagle Raceway. The Nebraska 360s and the Super Late models take the track at America's fastest track. Is that what America's home track, right? That's their America's home track, yep. Eagle Raceway. We'll be back here on the front stretch.
All race car drivers know how frustrating it can be to lose a race because of a cheap part. They save pennies by going with the cheap part, and now they're on the hauler watching someone else celebrate in victory lane. Cutting corners in racing is just as costly as cutting corners on your car. Make sure you have quality parts on your car by heading to O'Reilly Auto Parts. With 13 locations in Omaha and Council Bluffs, it's easy to find an O'Reilly Auto Parts near you. Find your parts fast and easily online at O'ReillyAuto.com.
Only one word describes NASCAR at Kansas Speedway. Fantastic. Parking's free. Coolers are welcome. Fantastic, you say? Then don't miss the chase for the Sprint Cup Hollywood Casino 400 October 5th. Tickets include more seats for $99 or less and kids tickets for just $29. How fantastic is that? Call 866-460-RACE or visit KansasSpeedway.com today.
This is Andrew from Kaziski Auto Parts. Kaziski Auto Parts is an insurance-quality used parts supplier that can match your foreign or domestic car or truck needs. If you have a damaged or broke-down car or truck, we guarantee a clean and quality part in next-day fashion. Kaziski Auto Parts, your neighborhood premium recycled parts supplier. Call any Kaziski Auto Parts salesman today by dialing 402-731-4592 or visit us at 5040 I Street in Omaha. Kaziski Auto Parts, our quality used parts will match your car or truck's needs.
Joe's Karting is the Metro's fastest indoor karting facility. With karts that can reach 45 miles an hour because they rip the governors out and design the track to be fun yet challenging. This isn't your typical amusement park go-kart track. This is white-knuckle, full-throttle racing at its best. It's time to get to Joe's and find out what everybody's raving about. Located just off 23rd Avenue in Council Bluffs or online at joeskarting.com and on Facebook, too. Get to Joe's today and unleash your inner race car driver.
We're working the High Line into Turn 2 on the front stretch, presented by Joe's Karting, online at joeskarting.com.
Turn number 2 brought to you by Kaziski Auto Parts, online at Kaziski.com or 402-731-4592. You can also stop by 51st and I Street. I was talking to Joe, getting ready for the Midwest Fall Brawl, and he was telling me about he is overloaded on batteries. This is the deal of the century. You need a new battery? Walk over to Kaziski Auto Parts, drop down $40. You'll get a battery and a warranty, and it's a full lifetime warranty. If the battery dies, you bring the battery back in. He gives you a brand new one. It can't get any more simple than that. Kaziski Auto Parts, 51st and I Street, or 402-731-4592. Let's head over to the phone lines and get an update from the man that is the voice of sprint car racing in the Midwest, Stan Cisar. How you doing, sir?
Hey, pretty good. Pretty good. Top of the morning to you.
Indeed it is, and it sounds like you had a bit of a late night last night over at Adams County Raceway for the Nebraska 360s.
Well, actually, actually, last night, the SLMR Series was at Adams County Speedway. We were at a Junction Motor Speedway, and it wasn't Nebraska 360s. It was the ASCS American Sprint Car Series Midwest Region 360s racing out there. Had a great field of cars on hand and 4 heat races, and unfortunately a couple of really pretty bad accidents on the backstretch over there in the heat race action. The guy that won this particular race a couple of years ago, Greg Baker from Sioux Falls, South Dakota, had a pretty hard flip. He was leading his heat race, and the treacherous turn 2 bit him. Unfortunately, Greg came out of that one all right, but in the A feature on lap number 1, Cody Forshee out of Wichita, Kansas, crashed in just about the same spot and flipped pretty violently all the way down the backstretch. The car actually ending up in 2 pieces, and he was taken in for observation, but he was helped from the car under his own power, and that's the good news. Cody's going to be all right on that deal, but boy, they couldn't say the same for the car.
Yeah, but like you said, though, just to cover it again, everyone's going to be okay after those accidents last night?
Yeah, that was the word. He, like I say, he did walk to the ambulance with a little help under his own power, and they wanted to take him in just for observation, just to check things out. But great racing, and I'll tell you what, Tony Bruce Jr. jumped out in the early lead, and Jack Dover ran him down in a brand new race car that had 0 laps on it before last night. Jack had kind of a run of bad luck, and built a brand new car, and he ended up passing Tony and hung on for the win, survived a couple of late race restarts. And so Jack Dover took the win over Tony Bruce Jr. J.D. Johnson came up out of Goddard, Kansas, finished in the 3rd spot. Danny Lasowski finished 4th, and Don Brown Jr. with a great run. He came all the way, had some problems in his heat race, had to come out of the B main event, came all the way from deep in the field, and he cracked that top 5 in the last couple laps. And very exciting race. Had a great crowd out there for the races. You know, everybody was worried about Nebraska football, but great crowd in the house. Dover takes the win, and Billy Alley finished back around 7th or 8th, and that's going to narrow down that points lead. Billy Alley was leading the Midwest region. Jack Dover's a 4-time champion, and he chose to miss one of the races on schedule this year to go to a different event, and so that gave Billy the lead, and Jack's closing things up. Of course, today we got the Nebraska Cup, and then in a couple of weeks we close out that ASCS season with the Fall Brawl. But last night you mentioned Adams County Speedway. Speaking of the Nebraska Cup, the SLMR late models were in the house down there last night, and the 7-race winning streak by Kyle Burke was broken last night. John Anderson picked up the win by, from what I understand, less than a second. It was like 0.793 seconds over Kyle Burke. Ted Pospisil, Bill Layton Jr., and J.C. Wyman rounded out the top 5 down there. Those guys are going to be in the house along with the ASCS Midwest region, and there's even going to be guys that weren't at Junction last night. Jason Johnson, a 2-time national champion and a 2-time champion of the Nebraska Cup. He's on his way in. He resides out of Eunice, Louisiana, races out of Missouri during the summertime. Also, word is Brian Brown will be in the house. So a couple tough customers coming in to challenge Dover and Tony, and those guys are all previous winners. Johnson's a 2-time winner. Jack Dover's a 2-time winner. Tony Bruce Jr. has won that race. Danny Lasowski has won the race. So a great way to close out the season down at Eagle with the Nebraska Cup. 2 great classes of cars, and we're really looking forward to it.
It just seems like Dover's on such a tear lately. He had that run of misfortune where he ended up junking a couple of cars, but ever since then, I mean, he went and claimed the Race of Champions over Super Nationals weekend at Eagle, and then he went and claimed the Super Nationals win. The guy's just on a tear lately.
Yeah, you know, last Sunday morning we were talking about the Race Saver Super Nationals A main event. We were looking forward to doing that last Sunday night. Unfortunately, Mother Nature was the big winner, and we all had to come back on Monday. But we can kind of recap that event. Jack Dover started deep in the field, started 19th in that race, and he was driving Rick Bauer's car with a Race Saver 305 motor in it. Jason Martin, he had to feel kind of bad for him. He had that race pretty much under control. He was out front. Unfortunately, got a flat tire, got into the wall on one of the late restarts in that race, and that handed the lead to Tad Holloman. And great run for Tad. You know, pretty good, feel-good story. Tad gets the ride mid-season in that Steve Hurst's car number 45. He picked up the Friday night qualifying win, and then he came back with a fine second-place finish. And you look at the results of that Race Saver Super Nationals A main event. You got Dover and Ted Holloman from up here in Nebraska. Then you got Ryan Hall out of Midlothian, Texas. You talked to him, interviewed him, I remember, last week. Mm-hmm. John Ricketts, who's a former national champion. Your new track record holder, Luke Cranston, out of Holcomb, Missouri, or Holcomb, Kansas. Then Jason Martin, came all the way from the rear of the field, got a flat tire fix, came all the way from the rear of the field, raced his way back to 6th. Then it was Claude Estes from Godley, Texas, Stu Snyder, one of the Nebraska guys, another former national champion, Jason Howell out of Hazel, Texas, and Matt Richards, another guy that came back late in the season with his own car and cracked the top 10 at the Super Nationals. I know he was pretty happy about that. Pretty evenly split between Nebraska drivers, the visitors from Texas, and throwing a couple URSS guys now that the Race Saver engine is a legal option for them from Kansas. And it was an awesome event. You know, we had over 70 cars. And you were there. You saw it, didn't you?
Those were some amazing races. I wasn't there on the Saturday night, but the Friday night portion I was there. And good Lord Almighty.
Yep, and Friday night, you know, the track actually not as racy as it got later in the weekend because of the heavy rain. You know, we had a rain delay, and we put that track back into shape, and still got Friday night showing. And what can you say? It's a great way to end the season with a couple big specials.
You know, interesting side note about Matt Richards. You know, there's another Richards driving a race car now.
Yeah.
Jessica Richards last night ran her very first race in a sport mod.
I'll be darned.
And she actually looked really good. She beat me.
I figured you were going to talk about Matt's son Cade because he's been racing in the go-karts, and he is doing a lot of winning down at the Mini East.
Yeah. I think he won the championship, didn't he, in his class?
I think so. Uh-huh.
Yeah, I think he had like 7 or 8 wins this year. So all 3 of the Richards folk are now racing. Cade in the go-kart. Matt's raced everything under the sun and then some. And now his wife Jessica last night racing in the sport mod. So,
you know, there's a few guys that come to mind. You know, we used to go when I first started doing Eagle Raceway 12, 13 years ago down there. You know, we used to watch Matt Richards race the modified, and he loved that high line. He was high and wide up on the top side of the racetrack, you know. And every once in a while you see guys like that. Maybe Chris Abelson comes to mind. You say, man, that guy would really do good in a sprint car. I'd love to see him in a sprint car someday up there running the cushion. Well, Matt Richards got his chance with the implementation of the Race Saver rules, and he's taken to it very well.
Looks like I'm sorry, I want to back up a little bit again. We'll talk about the Super Nationals for the Race Saver 305s. Maybe it's just my optimism, but it really felt like that's got a race that's going to see about 120 cars probably in the next year or two as it continues to grow.
Well, you know, we started pre-registration very early, and we had over 80 cars pre-registered. Some guys had some incidents between then and the end of the year. We ended up with 76 cars taking the green flags in our first qualifying night on Friday night. And, you know, with the 3-wide start, let's touch on that for just a second. Everybody was a little leery of that 3-wide start. I think they did a great job. You can check out the videos of that. Everybody in line 3-wide coming off turn 4. By the time they got down into 1 and out of 2, everybody had kind of picked their line and knew where they were at. But the 3-wide start coming down for the green flag was really something to see. And the 27 best Race Saver sprint car drivers in the house put on a great start for that race. And you know, I'd say conservatively that the 3-wide start probably cost us 20 entries this year. So, you know, people were skeptical. People didn't know, well, we're not going to do this 3-wide start. We're going to crash cars. Yeah. And, you know, and that can happen anytime. They couldn't do 20 cars 2-wide a year ago. This year they did 27 cars 3-wide without an incident. So it just depends on the drivers and their mentality and everybody minding their manners on that first lap. But like I said, was it a gimmick? Yeah, it never been done, but they proved that it could be done if everybody does their job, and everybody did their job. And I think since we got the first one out of the way, I think very easily this race in the future could reach 100 cars.
Stan Cisar, the voice of the ASCS, of the Nebraska 360s, of Eagle Raceway, and everyone says they'd like to have Morgan Freeman narrate their life. I wouldn't mind have Stan Cisar narrate mine.
Oh, I'm telling you.
Sultry sound. Stan, love talking to you every Sunday morning. Can't wait to do it again.
You bet. Look forward to seeing you next Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
I know you're probably going to be talking about the big Playland Speedway reunion that we got coming up, and I know you and I talked just a little bit briefly this week. A member of the Slusky family who owned Playland Speedway back in the day, and who kind of revitalized the second portion of the Speedway career, Jerry Slusky. We talked to Jerry. Jerry is going to be there. We talked to Ron Tilley, who was one of the tough competitors over there, trying to get Bob Johnson there. You guys got a whole bunch of guys lined up. And another guy that's going to be there, and he's bringing his Gontra car, the Good Old Time Racing Association, had a close third-place finish in that A-Main last night. Bill Rick. Rick was actually racing last night. He won his heat race, and Bill's going to be in the house, and he was a great interview during the Sunset Speedway reunion, and we probably expect more of the same.
All right, we'll talk to you next Sunday, Stan. Have a good one, buddy.
All right, guys. You guys have a good week.
I'll talk to you tonight at the racetrack for the Nebraska Cup. So.
All right, we'll see you there. We got a spot up in the booth for you.
Oh, I love it. Thank you, sir.
See ya.
We'll be back in turn number 3 to talk results from Richmond and Chase Picture. This is the Front Stretch, presented by Joe's Karting on AM 590, Omaha's ESPN Radio.
Only one word describes NASCAR at Kansas Speedway. Fantastic. Parking's free. Coolers are welcome. Fantastic, you say? Then don't miss the chase for the Sprint Cup Hollywood Casino 400 October 5th. Tickets include more seats for $99 or less, and kids' tickets for just $29. How fantastic is that? Call 866-460-RACE or visit KansasSpeedway.com today.
This week's young gun on the Front Stretch is Larry Robinson Jr., who fell in love with racing when he hopped into a go-kart in his backyard. 2 years ago, he got his first competitive cage kart and started racing the Junior 206 class. Last year, Larry moved to senior class karts and took home runner-up in championship points at Little Sunset Speedway and has a feature win to his record at the Turkey Chase. Next year, Larry plans on moving up to hobby stock or sports mod and racing at Shelby County Speedway and US 30 Speedway. Larry knows that if it wasn't for the support of his grandparents, aunts, uncles, and the McNeil family, he wouldn't be where he is today. Great sponsors like Larry's Auto Salvage, Uncle Frank's For Cycle, and Bob's Upholstery also make it possible for Larry to race the 53R around Little Sunset Speedway each week. Make sure to keep your eyes out for the 53R Junior 206 kart driven by Larry Robinson Jr. He's this week's Young Gun on the Front Stretch.
All race car drivers know how frustrating it can be to lose a race because of a cheap part. They save pennies by going with the cheap part, and now they're on the hauler watching someone else celebrate in victory lane. Cutting corners in racing is just as costly as cutting corners on your car. Make sure you have quality parts on your car by heading to O'Reilly Auto Parts. With 13 locations in Omaha and Council Bluffs, it's easy to find an O'Reilly Auto Parts near you. Find your parts fast and easily online at O'ReillyAuto.com.
Time to grab another tear-off and make your move. We're headed into turn 3 on the Front Stretch, presented by Joe's Karting.
Turn number 3 brought to you by Kansas Speedway. Tickets for the NASCAR chase for the Sprint Cup Hollywood Casino on Hollywood Casino 400 on October 5th are on sale now. Visit KansasSpeedway.com. So many great things that Kansas does that not a lot of facilities do. They've got the mobile app that you can download so that you can connect with your friends at the racetrack because they understand it's a massive facility. And I always get a kick out of those people that, you go to the concerts and you see the two people that are on the phone and waving at each other and they're at the other end of the arena and I'm thinking, what happens now? Like, okay, you waved at each other. What does like pixie dust fall out of the sky because you guys saw each other at a big arena? Well, Kansas made it easier for pixie dust to fall out of the sky for you because you can just use the app to find your friends, to find convenient locations, handicap accessible areas, to purchase tickets, to get ticket packages. It's a fantastic little app that they've built and something that I think that cool. It'd be really cool to see a lot of local tracks do that.
How they help you find your car in the parking lot.
You can find your car after the race. Maybe you've had a few too many Miller times.
Few too many millions.
And then also again, you talk about how expensive it is to go to these things, and how Kansas has said, It's a soft-sided cooler. Bring what you want to in that cooler, as long as it fits inside the soft-sided cooler. You can bring sandwiches into the race with you. You can bring beer into the race with you. They don't care. They want you to come and enjoy it and have a good time.
Just stay off the catch fence.
Yes. Oh, my God. What an idiot. I mean, what an idiot. Kansas.
What I'm trying to figure out is, how in the world did he get past security?
Well, you can
climb all the way up.
You've seen it. You can walk when you've got those really good tickets up in front. You can walk up right next to the track, and they have officials that stand every so often that kind of keep people back away from the fence. But apparently they weren't paying attention, and this guy made a run for the fence and just climbed it like Tony Stewart.
And he's sitting on top of the fence. It's not like they caught him halfway up the fence. He's just lounging up there shirtless, you know. So we got squirrels one week and half-naked men on a fence the next.
Ridiculous. I tell you, you try to defend this sport to not being a bunch of rednecks and goofs, and then that happens.
Yeah.
But
it's kind of like my Kansas deal that happened 2 years ago.
Every sport has it. Every sport has streakers, has people who yell stuff out. I mean, golf's going through a little thing right now with some people yelling out profanities during backstrokes, but they're trying to battle that. But every sport has it. I guess
everybody's wanting their 15 minutes worth of fame, but they're looking like a lifetime of ignorance.
Yeah, that was the most interesting thing that happened was when the caution came out, and Alan Bestwick goes, "Oh, well, we're under caution for." As he's trying to process how to say it without giving it, because he doesn't want to make it funny so that other people try to do it. I thought it was a streaker, and I thought, by the way he was I thought, did somebody get on the track and streak? Because what the heck is going on with security if that happened?
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest with you. If somebody has an infield tickets at Kansas Speedway, there's a good chance they could hop a fence and run out onto the track. Now, they're going to end up like a bug on a windshield, but, I mean...
really, it's actually kind of easy if you're at Kansas to be on pit road and run out into the grass and streak on national TV.
That's what I'm saying. And it's, luckily NASCAR trusts its fans enough to not do that. And we haven't had that issue where they've had to take away privileges, build massive fences to keep people back. So please don't do that. All right, results from Richmond International Raceway. Brad Keselowski sets a new record at the track for most laps led in a single race, 383 of 400 laps. He beat
383 of 400 laps?
He led all but 17.
What did he do? 2 pit stops?
No, Kevin Harvick had a really good high side run going early in the race and was able to catch him and take the lead. But Brad just, it was just one of those races where somebody had the field, and it stinks to have that, and it really stinks to have it at the end of the season when it's the end of the race. We've seen it in dirt racing.
He led every lap at 7. I don't know if I've ever heard of that in Cup racing. Every lap but 17.
Yeah.
Holy good God!
Nobody else led. It was him and Harvick that led. That was it. 4 caution laps, 4 lead changes. Yeah, 4 lead changes among 2 drivers, Brad Keselowski and Kevin Harvick. So, that was it. Gordon ends up coming home runner-up. Clint Boyer with a 3rd-place finish. Jamie Mack, 4th-place finish, and Kevin Harvick rounds out the top 5. Joey Logano, Kurt Busch, Jimmy Johnson, Ryan Newman, Eric Almirola round out your top 10. Couple of drivers up in there in the top 10 that aren't typical. Jamie McMurray, Clint Boyer, I'm sorry to say it, but Clint's not really having a very stellar year. Ryan Newman and Eric Almirola, 4 drivers up in the top 10 that aren't typically in the top 10.
As we're sitting here, we're looking at this the chase grid, and you've already got yours filled out, and during the break I was filling mine out, although you already pointed out I need to correct some.
Yep.
Newman, I want to ask you this. As long as Newman's been in the sport, do you think he's plateaued as a driver, or do you think he's got more to go? I would expect something more from him. Well, as long as he's been in, he should be doing better.
I think he's talent level, he's still there. He may have fallen off a tick because he's getting up into the age there, but he just doesn't have the organization behind him either. And he had a good organization at Stewart-Haas Racing, but if you don't have a Hendrick-specific car or a Penske-specific car, it's tough goings out there right now. Those 2 organizations are the top organizations. Hendrick has been for the last 10 years. Penske's come on strong the last couple of years. And that Ford camp, I guess I shouldn't say Ford camp.
Well, let me ask you this: you put him in a Penske or a Hendricks. Is Newman a lot better than what we see now?
First off, Hendrick.
Yeah.
little pet peeve of mine. Yeah, I think he does win. I think because it's Joey Logano, his true talent is finally showing since he's gotten over to Penske. And Brad Keselowski is just a phenomenal driver, and his talent level last night was definitely on display with putting on laps.
You think?
Lap after lap after lap after lap, and not really coming down to pit strategy or, last minute, let's gamble on this and then let the driver do, his championship year, I remember 4 or 5 times, they came into the pits 15th, 16th, pretty good car, and they came out 5th, and then they came out with a win because they took 2 tires, or they gambled and did fuel only, or they did, and they gambled and got Brad the position he needed, and then they got the win. I didn't see that at all. I haven't seen that much this year. He's been up front and he's been dominating. So I think Ryan Newman definitely is a talent that just needs to be at a better. And that's frankly that's the way the field goes for probably 30 of these drivers. Is that there's only so many cars that could be fielded by Hendrick and Penske.
Yeah.
And Joe Gibbs Racing struggling but not bad. They're there. They've got all 3 of their drivers in the chase. But the final chase spot goes to Ryan Newman and Greg Biffle. Clint Boyer on the outside looking in this year. Tough year for him, and you got to look back at last weekend's race. Had a pretty good car, but had issues. Went some 30 or 40 laps down trying to get that car repaired and back out of the track. Lost a lot of points and ended up losing a spot in the chase. Michael Waltrip Racing struggling this year after having such a strong 2013 season. Yep. What you doing over there, big guy? Oh, sorry. Carmen Electra's on the TV, and both of the guys in my studio were paying attention to her and not my delicate analysis of the chase grid. All right, your chase drivers, as they are seated, Brad Keselowski is seated number 1, 4 wins on the season. Jeff Gordon, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Jimmy Johnson, Joey Logano in your top 5. Let's see. All those guys have 3 wins. Kevin Harvick, Carl Edwards, 2 wins. Those are 6th and 7th. Kyle Busch with a win. Denny Hamlin, 9th. Kurt Busch, 10th. Casey Kane, Eric Almirola, and A.J. Allmendinger round out the top 13. All of them have wins. Matt Kenseth secured it with points, and then so did Greg Biffle and Ryan Newman. So as they are seated, Brad Keselowski is your points leader. Matt Kenseth, who has had a strong year all year long, just not got a win, is reseated as 14th. I'll start off by saying I don't think that matters at all.
No. How do I put this? Clark County Speedway where I'm running. Mm-hmm. Everybody's asking, are you going to win the championship? You're second in points, but you haven't got the win. No, but I've been consistently running up front. Kenseth consistently stays up there. It does help to have those wins. You win it and you're in it. Mentality has worked. We've seen it. But when he's running so consistent week in and week out, he's going to be right up there. What I do see happening in the grid is Kenseth getting the win now. I think it's going to be super important. The wins, to say that the win gives you a premium is an understatement. And this here, I didn't know how I was going to like it until you gave me this piece of paper, and I'm sitting here going, ooh, I could change this like 9 different ways.
Here's I guess the way I've kind of looked at it is that this opening round, Kurt Busch said it really good last night. That's some great English I got going on here. He put it really well last night that he goes, all we got to do is get top 10 finishes in these first 3 races, and we're on to the next round. A lot of these guys, the mentality has been the 10-race chase for the last, since 2004 when they
implemented
something like that. It's been consistency over the 10 races. If you have one bad race, you're okay. But, like last year in the chase, when Dale Earnhardt Jr. started off at Chicagoland, blew a tire, took his car out, he was done. He can blow his tire today, win next weekend, and he's just as good as anybody else. I think the win and you're in, honestly, I think it takes pressure off of some drivers because it's not such a 10 straight long, consistent push of pressure that I have to get this win and then I have to win next weekend and then I have to win the next weekend. I can win this weekend and then the pressure's off of me for 2 weeks or for until the next round starts.
Yeah, but I think there's some pressure added to it because when you look at, there's 3 tracks. You got Chicagoland, New Hampshire, and Dover. You have a small track, an intermediate track, actually 2 intermediates, and I consider Dover a small track, a bull ring. And so that puts the pressure right back on you. I do agree with Busch that, get top tens, and that's only because you got so many drivers. But then you get down to Kansas, Charlotte, and Talladega. I think that 3 races per round puts more pressure. So when he's saying it takes pressure off of you, I disagree respectfully. I think it puts more pressure on you having those 3 races, because you might run good at one track, but you may, look at Kyle Busch. Traditionally, Kyle Busch never does good at Kansas. Pick'em's contest, spoiler, do not take Kyle Busch at Kansas.
And if I can interrupt, that was his post-race comment, was he is really worried about the contender round because he is terrible at Kansas and Talladega. He basically said all of our chips are on Charlotte, which I like that track. He said he likes that track, and he's good at that track. That's his shot. To say he is terrible at Kansas is an understatement.
Well, yeah, so you got the one Busch brother saying, it takes the pressure off of you, but the other Busch brother's going, oh, no, it shows he's got a lot of pressure on him.
I just thought it was interesting, the mentality of that a lot of these guys aren't saying we got to go in and win in this opening round. Guys like Ryan Newman, Greg Biffle,
they got to win.
I'm going to throw Matt Kenseth in there. No, I'm going to take him out of there. AJ Allmendinger, Eric Almirola, and frankly, Casey Kane.
Thank you. I was just getting ready to say Casey Kane.
Those are the guys that the pressure is on them
They need to win.
Because they haven't done that. Casey squeaked away a win. Eric and AJ, I'm sorry, guys. I loved watching you guys win, but you squeaked away a win there. And you took full advantage of this new chase format. But those are the guys that need the win. These other guys, they won't feel pressure till they have a bad race or Dover, if they're sitting on that bubble. But then it all ramps up in the contender round when you're starting to get down to the actual cream of the crop. And then the eliminator round, Martinsville, Texas, and Phoenix, when there's 8 drivers left, that's when things are going to get hot and heavy.
When you get down to the eliminator round, well, let me back that statement up. Dinger, J.G. Daughtry. Boy, we both...
J.G. Doherty Racing.
Boy, we both can't talk this morning. But with his driver being none other than the Dinger, how far do you see the Dinger making this, honestly? And we're not trash talking him. I don't see him making it out of the first round. But if he was to make it to the eliminator round, would that be a Cinderella story?
Yeah, it would. It'd definitely be a Cinderella story. He is good at short tracks. He's not great, but he's good at short tracks. He can hold his own. I heard in the post-race interview last night that they saved the 3 best-performing cars that they've had all year long. They've saved them for Chicagoland, New Hampshire, and Dover. The car he raced last night, which he had a horrible race in, is a brand-new car that they'd never really shaken down. So that was the explanation behind last week's poor results and the week before's poor results, was that those were 2 new cars that they didn't want to take their good cars and wreck them at Atlanta in Richmond. So they took 2 new cars. I'm praying for him. I'm hoping, because we always love that underdog story. I mean, how great would it be? There was a little bit of an underdog story when Tony won the championship with Stewart-Haas Racing, but then again, you look at it and you go, it's a Hendrick satellite organization. JTG Doherty Racing is a Cinderella story. They're a single car organization that is funded by blood, sweat, and tears.
Well, when you look at these guys winning the races, Johnson, Kenseth, Busch, Keselowski Jr., these are guys that you expect to run up front. The Hendrick cars, the Penske cars. But when you see Dinger up there, you got to see that and feel that raw emotion at Watkins Glen, I believe it was.
Yeah.
The car owner was elated. Dinger was out of this world. That was like the coolest feel good win of the entire year. So I think being in the chase, I think there's going to be a lot more people rooting for him in the chase versus what most people think.
He's got my vote. I mean, of all the drivers in there, my feel-good family story is Kevin Harvick. Obviously, I want to keep it within the family with Stewart-Haas Racing and being a Tony fan, but my other pick is AJ Allmendinger. Now, I mean, it's a long shot. They're not going to be able to win it.
If Dinger makes it to the contender round, are you going to be shocked?
All right. Yeah, I will. To the contender round, no, I won't actually. I won't be shocked, but yeah, I got a question. One more question for you before we wrap up turn number 3. Give me 2 drivers in the Challenger round that may not make it that would shock the world. Give me 2 drivers you think that, we listed off, guys like Ryan Newman, Greg Biffle, AJ Allmendinger, Eric Almirola, and Casey Kane. Don't give me any of those guys. Give me the top 10 drivers that may not make it past the contender round.
When you look at the
challenger round.
Last 8 weeks, one that may not shock me, Jimmy Johnson.
You've got him as your championship.
I've got him as my championship, but you're asking me that may not make it past the challenger round.
You do have work to do on that. If you're not going to be surprised if your own championship pick doesn't make it out of the first round.
Well, no, when you look at Jimmy Johnson in the last 8 weeks, we've seen this in the past where, the 8 weeks prior to the chase, he's not looking that hot, and then all of a sudden he comes out in the chase and he's winning everything.
Yeah.
So that's why I have him as my champion, yes. But it wouldn't shock me if, but now that the new format is here, I think they're going to have fun with it, but it wouldn't shock me.
Who's your second driver?
Gordon.
Really?
Yes.
That is interesting. I think mine would be Carl Edwards and Denny Hamlin. I don't see a lot of fire out of those two. But then again, Denny Hamlin's pit crew is going to win.
To me, that's a safe pick to say that they may not make it out of the challenger round.
How? They're in the top 10. They both have wins on the season.
They both have wins.
I think that's my surprise picks. I think that's my two guys that wouldn't make it out of the challenger round. That's the first round, not any of the other rounds. I don't think they're going to make it out in any of the other rounds, but I think that's the two drivers.
If you didn't like my original, I would have to say the Busch brothers.
Okay. All right. Well, we'd like to hear from you. We got 10 minutes left in the front stretch. 402-573-0590. Give me your championship pick, and maybe somebody that's not going to make it out of the championship round or the opening round, the challenger round, the next 3 races for the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series championship. We'll be back on the front stretch.
Quaker Steak and Lube is the official watering hole for the front stretch and the best place to catch all the NASCAR action today. Open at 11 a.m. with delivery available to Council Bluffs.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Only one word describes NASCAR at Kansas Speedway. Fantastic. Parking's free. Coolers are welcome. Fantastic, you say? Then don't miss the chase for the Sprint Cup Hollywood Casino 400 October 5th. Tickets include more seats for $99 or less and kids tickets for just $29. How fantastic is that? Call 866-460-RACE or visit kansasspeedway.com today.
Joe's Karting is the Metro's fastest indoor karting facility. With karts that can reach 45 miles an hour because they rip the governors out and design the track to be fun yet challenging. This isn't your typical amusement park go-kart track. This is white-knuckle, full-throttle racing at its best. It's time to get to Joe's and find out what everybody's raving about. Located just off 23rd Avenue in Council Bluffs or online at joeskarting.com and on Facebook, too. Get to Joe's today and unleash your inner race car driver.
Get ready for the victory lap as we make our way into Turn 4 on the front stretch. Presented by Joe's Karting. Online at joeskarting.com.
Heading into turn number 4, brought to you by Quaker Steak and Lube in Council Bluffs. Online at thelube.com. You can go to locations and find the Council Bluffs locations, get all the great prices and specials that are going on each and every day at the Lube in Council Bluffs, the official watering hole of the front stretch. Let's see, the young gun for today was Larry Robinson Jr., a cage kart driver, and
that's a family rich in history with stock car racing around here.
Family tradition.
That song would perfectly describe them. I am not kidding you.
The Young Guns is something we're working feverishly to keep alive. Something that we want to do. We just try to feature not necessarily I don't want to say it the wrong way, but we just want to feature young drivers. They don't have to be championship drivers and tearing the world up and the next Kyle Larsons and Joey Logano's.
Actually, who our favorite drivers are? Like you said, not the drivers that win all the races, but let's say you got a 12-year-old daughter who races a cage kart and she's helping out with charity. She's getting good grades in school. This is a great way to mention those kids, and we'd like to show kids that could be considered role models for other kids.
The idea behind this is just to help cultivate the culture, and frankly, if we don't have cage karts and kart drivers, then we're not going to have sport compact drivers and B-mod drivers and sprint car drivers.
And we'll even showcase, and it's not just karts that we want to, showcased a bunch of kids in the bigger cars.
Really, the only rule we follow is we try to keep it under 18, but we just did a guy, Dylan Lynn, who races at Little Crawford County Speedway, and he's 20 years old. But you know what? Who cares? We're just wanting to feature. So email us, frontstretch590@gmail.com, frontstretch590@gmail.com, or you can email Buddy. We'll get you the information. All you got to do is just send me an email and say, I want my kid to be featured as a part of the Young Gun. It doesn't cost you anything.
Nope,
we create a
absolutely
60-second spot for you. I'll send you everything we need. In fact, I can send you the profile of that McKenna Haas. Did you look at that? It was
Good Lord.
I mean, that was something that Penske put together.
Yeah.
Like, jeez, I couldn't. When she sent that to me, I was like, "Holy cow!" And then I got to talk to her Saturday night at Eagle Raceway for the Sprint and Super Nationals. And smart girl, smart kid, and she's very talented young lady. So please do us a favor. Email us frontstretch590@gmail.com. You can also call us with a few minutes left in the show. 402-573-0590. I'd like to get your opinions on the Chase picture for 2014. Your thoughts on who's going to win it, who's going to be disappointed following Dover, and anything else you guys want to talk about. 402-573-0590. We'd love to hear from you. In the meantime, let's talk Playland Speedway Tribute Show. We got a lot lined up. Jerry Slusky, State Cisar talked about it earlier in the show that Jerry Slusky is confirmed to join us on the panel. Here's the way it's all going to work. It's next Sunday. Starting at noon, we're going to have a little bit of a car show. Wayne Q has been working his little tail off to get this car show put together so that we can have just more than just show up and have a show. And by the way, the weather looks absolutely gorgeous.
Does it? I was just getting ready to look.
Absolutely gorgeous. We're going to be set up outside. The front stretch is going to be set up on the band stage so that we're going to be up above, and Chris over at Quaker Steak is setting us up with tables and chairs so that everybody can sit in front of the stage and listen to us. And he's also getting us speakers so that they can be heard, so that we can be heard while the recording is going on. Working on getting it recorded, video recorded, but that's not looking to be the best, but I'm working that out, trying to get that done. But here's the way it works. At noon, the car show kicks off. Then at 2 o'clock, we start recording, and we're going to have the likes of Bill Rick, who's going to bring his 32 Ford Vicky sedan to the reunion, Don Brown and Don Lemley, Ron Standard, Bob Golden, who was one of the last owners of Playland Speedway, Howard Kozel, Rob Walker, Terry Jura with his dad, Bob Jura, a many-time winner at Playland Speedway, and also Terry's uncle, Don Ernst, Bob Kaziski, Ed and Chris Morris are going to be there. Fred Miller is going to be there representing his father-in-law, Don Pash, who was the 52 and 60-point champion. Let's see. Don Doblin.
Donnie Doblin.
Yep. Dave Chase is confirmed to be there. And Wayne has been working feverishly to get more and more drivers. So they're going to work their way through the panel. We're going to basically do it chronologically. We're going to open it up with 1940 when the track opened up. And Wayne's going to help us out explaining how the track got started. And then we'll transition in turns 2 and 3 and 4 into the 50s and 60s where Stan will join us and he'll talk track championships. We'll talk to those drivers that won track championships. And then in hour number 2, we're going to continue through the 70s and then in the close of it all. So it's going to be about a 2-hour show.
Does Wayne know that he's got a 30-second time limit to ask a question?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Or to tell a story.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got him the same clock I got you.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm down to 45 seconds now.
That all goes down this next Sunday at Quaker Steak and Lube in Council Bluffs. We really do hope you can join us. It's going to be a fantastic, fun time.
Oh, yeah. And I don't think we actually have a time limit set on this. Nope. It could be an hour. It could be 2 hours. The weather's gorgeous for outside.
Well, and the two reasons why I wanted to do it this early is that we've got the freedom to be able to do it outside so it can accommodate more people. And then it gives me the opportunity to build the legends of the Dirt Series around the show rather than try to build the show around the legends of the Dirt Series.
Do you have any names for the legends of the Dirt?
Lee and I are working. We have the leftovers from last year, but we've got pretty much from what I understand from Lee. He was sick this week, so we weren't able to get together. But he's got a pretty good idea of who.
Am I on that list yet?
No.
Dang.
You're gonna need to get more than one win.
Well, hey, there might be one win, but it was hard fought.
It was a hard fought win. All right, please join us next Sunday at Quaker Steak and Lube for the Playland Speedway Tribute Show. Get the word out. Bring your friends. You can find it on Facebook, Playland Speedway Tribute 2014, and share it with all of your friends and family.
are we live next Sunday?
No, we are recorded next Sunday. We'll be breaking down Chicagoland and all the action that will be coming up at Chicagoland.
So can I tell the listeners that Wednesday night we have a new, I guess, pet driver that we're going to be following for a while. Will Wolf.
Oh, yeah. Will
Wolf from the ARCA series. He's going to be joining us. I think he's going to be on once or twice, but we had talked, if there's something major breaking in his career development that we're going to cover him. But he was meeting with some ARCA and some NASCAR Cup teams with mentorships. 20-year-old driver. He will be racing at Kansas when we're down there in the ARCA race. It'll be fun and exciting to get to talk to him, and he's going to kind of tell us, from the grassroots level all the way up to testing at Daytona. He's going to follow. I have his cell number. He's just going to let us follow everything that he does and kind of check in with the show, kind of like what we did with Hudson Hall and TJ Bell.
Mm-hmm. So we'll do that. We'll record that Wednesday night, and then you can hear it all Sunday morning. And then tonight at Eagle Raceway, the Nebraska Cup. Hope you can get out there. We've gone over on the hour. I apologize, Craig. We've made your job a little bit harder. Thank you so much to everybody for joining us. Thanks to Quaker Steak & Lube for sponsoring turn number 3, and thanks to Joe's Karting for bringing you the front stretch on AM 590 Omaha's ESPN Radio.
This has been The Front Stretch, presented by Joe's Karting. Online at joeskarting.com. Email Dan and Buddy at frontstretch590@gmail.com.
Quaker Steak & Lube is the official watering hole for the front stretch and the best place to catch all the NASCAR action today. Open at 11 a.m. with delivery available to Council Bluffs.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak & Lube.